It's the end of an era as the host of South Africa's longest-running game show steps out of the limelight. And also a big brand extravaganza as we dissect this year's best and worst Super Bowl ads with the help of two local experts. This is Max on. Well, a very warm welcome, and as we've reported so many times before, the Super Bowl is the priciest and arguably the most valuable piece of advertising real estate in the world, with brands forking out literally millions of dollars to get in on the action. In fact, statistics show that a commercial spot price during the Super Bowl has doubled in the past decade. This year, a 30-second slot, wait for it, went for a record-breaking $5.2 million. You can do the conversion. It's around 70 million South African rand. So what do brands get for their money? Well, more than 100 million eyeballs, reportedly. So what were the big themes of this year's brand parade and who won the advertising Super Bowl, so to speak? Here to help us look at some of the ads is Lebogang Rasitaba, directed arcade content, along with Michael Lawrence, head of strategy at the Black River FC agency. To both of you, a very warm welcome. We're going to get to the ads in just a moment. Lebo, to start with you, why so much fuss over Super Bowl ads?
I guess maybe there's been a lot of brands that have really been able to leverage that much audience. Skechers, Audi, they've done a lot of work, and it shows that you can get a lot of worth for the money that's spent. And the 5.2 million that you mentioned isn't even the production cost. That's just to have it airing.
That's the media buy.
That's just the media buy, exactly. So you still have to produce it, and that in itself has a few millions spent as well.
Michael, very quickly, is it every person in the advertising industry's dream to have an ad flighted on Super Bowl Sunday?
Yes.
The answer would be yes.
Without question.
Why?
The Super Bowl represents one of the few examples left of monoculture in the United States. Everyone's watching. And so it is a chance for you and your brand to be famous. It's probably the best way in which you can make yourself and your brand famous. So that's the real reason behind it.
So, all right, let's get to some of the ads. So some of the criticism lodged towards brands this year is they all seem to play it very safe, steering clear of political commentary for the most part, except perhaps for this ad for the Washington Post.
When we go off to war, when we exercise our rights, when we soar to our greatest heights, when we mourn and pray, when our neighbors are at risk, when our nation is threatened, there's someone to gather the facts, to bring you the story, no matter the cost. Because knowing empowers us. Knowing helps us decide. Knowing keeps us free.
All right, narrated by Tom Hanks. This was the first ever Super Bowl spot for the Post that we reported just last week. You'll remember the trust in the media is at an all-time low in the US. It's a politically charged environment in the United States.
Sure.
What did you think of this ad?
It didn't strike me as an ad that would have a lot of resonance. It didn't strike me as an ad that would be remembered. And I guess you have to try figure out what is to be gained and what is to be lost for making a big political statement.
Michael, to what extent is safety an argument when it comes to an execution like that?
I think in the political landscape it is a tricky thing, and when you look at if the premise is that the trust in the media is low, then the Washington Post's response is a pretty good one. It's about journalists putting their lives on the line to deliver facts. That's a pretty good response if you're trying to build trust with the public. I just think for a topic that was so important that maybe the execution could have broken through a little bit better, and that maybe it was a little bit underplayed. They finish off with an idea that says democracy dies in darkness. It's super powerful stuff. Whether or not it was necessarily conveyed as strongly as it could have been, is my question.
Theme one, then, steering clear of controversy. Let's move to another theme now, and it's 90s nostalgia. We saw ads featuring the Backstreet Boys. I think that was for the crisp brand Doritos, so all now pushing 40 and 50. That's the band, not the Doritos. And Sarah Jessica Parker making a return as her Carrie Bradshaw character. Remember Sex and the City? Does nostalgia play well with audiences the world over? Surely the answer is yes.
It does. Adverts, essentially, it's a scramble for emotions. And you want to find one emotion and really make a big deal of it and really hone that emotion and be able to extract as much of that as possible to really try to convince people to buy a product. And I think they did that, relatively well.
Isn't nostalgia a bit of a cop-out sometimes?
I guess who are they talking to? And it feels like an audience of Generation X and older, possibly because the younger ones aren't watching TV. So there is that theme in quite a few of the spots where it feels as if the audience is 35 and 40 plus, because maybe the younger eyeballs just aren't watching.
Now, something else that's feeling a bit old is the use of Serena Williams as the it girl. I'm not for one moment discrediting Serena as a legendary athlete, but the Super Bowl ad for the social and dating app Bumble just feels very reminiscent of the kind of commercials that she's appeared in for brands like Nike and Gatorade. So, Michael, Serena Williams, a bit overplayed when it comes to endorsement, isn't it?
Yes, definitely. I think we all agree on that. That said, she is and remains an icon for strong, self-assured women. And I think in the context of the climate in the United States, the kind of misogyny and those topics that we've seen come up, she still represents for marketers a big bet. And so that's why they keep on throwing money at her. I mean, I guess that there's quite a nice fit with the app, because the app allows women only to make first contact with men. And as the ad says, women, the power is in your hands. So there's the connection and link back to the brand. And clearly marketers think it's still worth working with Serena because she holds that kind of clout.
So, Lebo, do you agree with that? Big bet, but is it a safe bet when it comes to Serena Williams?
I think they could have used any woman. I think that Serena has been used so much better in so many different other communications.
Where there's a fit with her,
where
and,
there's
and
like
this
an
kind of
intrinsic
sporting
fit.
genre.
Yeah, there's an intrinsic fit between the message of the brand and, whereas the message of this is about, it could have been any woman, essentially. That's the kind of the bottom line of it, is that it didn't have to be Serena.
Colgate, let's talk about this. The toothpaste brand seemed to get maybe a little too close to consumers with this ad featuring the well-known actor Luke Wilson.
I'm a close talker, so I was excited about all new Colgate Total. Its breakthrough formula does more.
Wonderful.
Sensitivity strengthens teeth. It kills germs through my whole mouth.
I like your confidence.
Thanks, Mr. Lee. Now there's no such thing as too close.
Yes, there is.
No, there's not.
Yes, there is.
No, there's not.
So, Lebo, there's another big-name celebrity coming in and endorsing a toothpaste. Does it work?
It's a good insight, but it was just kind of applied in the wrong context. When you think of close talkers, it's spaces where you'd need to really talk close, where there's loud music. I don't imagine a lot of people talking that close in an office, so I feel like it's the insight doesn't really fit well with the execution.
Is he being fair? Isn't there a little bit of hyperbole in that ad which perhaps makes it work, or is it a little too creepy?
I guess, you've got to think about the fact that you're watching football, you're drinking beer. It's an ad that it's got that sort of tongue-in-cheek kind of approach to it, and I guess that's what they were going for there.
They could have done that execution maybe even in the context of the Super Bowl, just somewhere where there's a reason for someone to talk so close to you.
So actually take it into the environment itself.
Or any environment that warrants a close talker.
Yeah.
Part of the discussion is it's on one hand quite effective in demonstrating its point, but it's creepy. It's just weird. And I think that's, having a look at Twitter, that was some of the responses. It's all up in your face.
Yeah, you don't want your brand to be associated with that word creepy, do you?
And another thing, I guess, is that celebrity has never played a creepy guy. So also the use of that celebrity is also just so misaligned with the message of the...
Yeah, I mean, he's the shaggy Labrador guy.
He's too cool, he's handsome. I don't know, maybe they could have used someone who typically played a creepy role, maybe?
Yeah, right, maybe Donald Trump. All right, more Super Bowl advertising to come as we look at how the battle of the soft drink brands played out.